Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya is our guest. Good to have you today, and always a pleasure to have you on this particular program.
Thank you for having me this morning. Good morning to you and good morning to us. It is indeed a pleasure for me to have the opportunity to have a conversation with Zaki on this platform.
And also, just to echo on what we will focus on this morning, we'll definitely be focused on, we'll be focusing on the contentions and burning issue around constitution amendment.
Yeah.
And it will be our center of conversations this morning. So, first of all, why are we having this debate?
Zaki, this is a very unnecessary debate, if you ask me, because right now we are 6th impoverished country in the world, according to the World Bank. Right now, corruption in the country is very high. You can tell from the numbers of illicit financial flows, where now we are reporting, or FIC is now reporting 3.1 billion United States dollars leaving the country illegally. This is a time when we have a series of precious minerals stolen from our country, some of them even caught by police, but stories go quiet. This is a time when even the Anti-Corruption Commission and the Drug Enforcement Commission are being told, wake quietly, stop talking about corruption, because when you talk about corruption, you chase away investors. This is a time we are in, and the people are suffering. The high cost of living has skyrocketed above the roof. It is just a terrible situation we are in. And so, instead of thinking about these matters, instead of dealing with issues that require immediate solutions for people to have meals every day, for people to have health care which is decent and which is able to provide indeed the curative assurances that people are looking for, we are now talking about amending the Constitution. Now, who is in the forefront lobbying for the constitution amendment? It is the president. He's the only player who has been in the National Assembly of Zambia lobbying for the constitution to be amended. He went to Northern Province lobbying for the constitution to be amended. He went to Western Province lobbying for the constitution to be amended. There was an indaba for the youths, president lobbying for the constitution to be amended. Now, even the speakers of the National Assembly of Zambia are now lobbying. Speakers, listen, the speakers. This constitution is not for the president, it's not for the speaker, it's not for ministers. This is the constitution for the Zambian people. But how then do you have those who should be disciplined by this document being in the forefront lobbying for its amendment? It has never been seen anywhere in the world. In Zambia here, we've never seen anything like this. Let me be clear. The Constitution is a document for the people. It disciplines the conduct of government. Therefore, government cannot be in the forefront, claiming that there is consensus about amending the Constitution, which consensus has not been built at any platform. I think we are now at a time when we are seeing unusual things in our country. We are having this conversation because the push to amend the Constitution is not people-driven, it is government-driven, and government at the very highest level, which is very, very unfortunate. Before the Minister of Justice ever said a word about the Constitution, how many times did the President mention it? From Mtengule in Inchpat to everywhere I mentioned. I find that extremely unusual. I find it suspicious. I find it not well-meaning. I also find it, to be a time-wasting process. I say so because...
When you say you find it suspicious, let's get into your suspicions.
My suspicion is that this is not a patriotic transaction. This is a very unpatriotic transaction. First of all, remember, Zach, that the main thing that was mentioned by the president in the National Assembly was delimitation. of constituencies.
Yeah.
Cutting constituencies. Now, these constituencies will be cut based on what? Based on the population explosion, which was reported by Dr. Msokotwane when he came with a ministerial statement. Where has this population exploded? I can tell you that in Luapula province, in Northern province and Muchinga province, government is saying there has been mild growth. So this population explosion happened in the UPND stronghold. Again, for the first time, this is the first census that is reporting an explosion in the UPND stronghold. And this is the basis of the delimitation, population explosion. Now, if this is the basis, what is UPND telling you? I agree with those people who are suspecting that UPND wants to increase constituencies in their stronghold. I agree with them because that is what the census is saying. This census is a contested document, contested not by us, not by ordinary people, contested within government. So why do you want to use a contested document to undertake delimitation? You have no time. Go and reconcile this document which is contested. Somebody will tell you, no, we are going to base this delimitation on the 2019 report. Let me tell you, 2019 report was based on the 2010 census. 2010 census, we had 13.1 million Zambians. According to this contested report, we have 19.7 million Zambians. How can you base this decision on such an outdated document? Again, there is little sense there. There is little sense, little futuristic sense. So what I see is that they are just machinations about, political, tilting political power, from one place to the other or from this place to the other. And this must not be the way government should govern the people. The people must be governed on the basis of patriotism, on the basis of development, on the basis of a desire to create a better country for everybody. I see that it is very suspicious that government is pushing for these for these constitutional amendments, and government should just abandon this push for a constitutional amendment, which is suspicious. The other thing I'd like to tell you is that I have noted that 14 CSOs have rejected these amendments. They have rejected. I've also observed that the Law Association of Zambia has also rejected it. And the church has spoken. They don't want it. Members of parliament, some of them have spoken, particularly those who are not aligned with the UPND. They don't want it. So why is government pushing? Yesterday, there were policemen. The National Assembly of Zambia was surrounded by the police because they are racing to curtail people who want to show dissent, who don't want these constitutional amendments. I have been informed they are racing to ensure that there is no picketing, there's no protests, and they even mistake protests to riots. A protest is not a riot. A protest is somebody saying, I don't want this, or they protest in support of something. But here the Zambian people are saying they don't want constitutional amendments, and they want to tell their leaders, those who are responsible for enacting the amendment, to tell them that we do not want as a people. So leave the people to show you what their feelings are about this particular item. That is my point. Now, you are even having rehearsals, how to stop people from just showing their desires or their lack of them. Leave the people to tell you so that you can govern them according to how they want you to govern. It is actually despotic to stop people from expressing their views. It's totally despotic. And I have to tell you, Zach, that this is the government we're in now. It is a government which does not want people to express themselves.
How do you then respond to the fact that, as per Constitution, I think Article 58.5, it clearly mandates the Electoral Commission that the Electoral Commission shall, at intervals, of not more than 10 years, review the names and boundaries of constituencies and wards, which simply means that they further have a mandate already clearly stated to review and adjust constituencies and wards at regular intervals, not more than 10 years. This process does not require any constitutional amendments, I do agree, but will it still be okay if the Electoral Commission went ahead and exercised their mandate on delimitation without necessarily undergoing a constitutional amendment? But do you first agree that the Electoral Commission can do this without necessarily touching the Constitution for amendment?
If the Electoral Commission of Zambia wants to change the name for Lunte constituency, they can change it. If they want to reduce Lunte and increase Kawambwa Central, cut a portion from Lunte and increase Kawambwa Central, they can go ahead and it.
And that's not delimitation.
That is reviewing. That is part of the reviewing of names and boundaries.
Right.
Okay. What the Electoral Commission cannot do is to increase the number of constituencies. They cannot increase the number of constituencies unless the law is changed. But the point is, when you are number 6 poorest country or impoverished country in the world, when your people are meeting me at 450 kwacha per 25 kg bag. The other time I was saying Chaco at one market in Baulen there is 750 kwacha, and the UPND were even refusing. They were saying, no, it's not 750 kwacha. They are refusing. When your people are going through this expensive and available electricity, this is what they have. When your people are going through such such a difficult economy where fuel is so expensive, why do you want to increase the number of MPs? Why do you want to increase the number of constituencies? Why do you want to put more money in the running of government? Why can't you put more money in improving the economy so that the economy can become better for your people? So for me, there is an issue of the people. And that's the first thing. The second thing is there is an issue of timing and the process, because we are now near elections. You have very few months before you go to elections. Why has it become so important that you have to increase the number of constituencies at a time when you are going towards elections? Why do you want to increase the amount of money to go into elections?
So this would still be okay with you as long as you're not.
As long as
isn't it that the bigger worry now is that the delimitation may happen in the stronghold of the party government?
According to the contested census, that's what I perceive. From according to the numbers contained in the contested
is that
census,
the bigger worry around this delimitation?
That's a huge worry. That's a foundation that can build a foundation for conflict between government and the people. And I don't want that. Okay, it's a huge risk for this country because we're dealing with a very dishonest government. But other than that, the people, the suffering of the people cannot allow any well-meaning government to embark on a process such as a constitutional review when the people are going through some of the things that I highlighted. It's virtually impossible to observe. Look at the energy that government has expended on this matter. Look at the presidential energy, speaker energy. Now, that is at the highest level of governance in any country. Presidential, speaker, chief justice. You expect these people to be championing or lobbying the constitutional amendments? Because that, and I haven't heard the chief justice made any comment. I just said this at the peak. Okay, at the peak. But you expect these people to be championing lobbying of the constitutional amendments. They have not championed the lobbying the reduction of the cost of living. None of them has lobbied the reduction, the reduction of the cost of living. All you hear is that we are cleaning the mess that PF left. That's what you hear from them. No, they urinated in, and so we are cleaning the urine. That is what you are going to hear from them. What is the cleaning of the urine? It is the theft of sugilite. What is the cleaning of the urine? It is the theft of lithium. What is the cleaning of urine? It is the dual carriageway, which started without a consultant, where people have now started collecting even toll fees without having created a road. The toll gate fees that they are collecting is on the toll gate that they did not create. Those toll gates were created by application of the finances of the Zambian people. That is the cleaning we're talking about. What cleaning are we talking about? Yeah. Illicit financial flows. Now you, from all these things, where are you going? Constitution, the only book which supports people. This is the only, remember, this is the only book which supports the people to discipline government. That is the one government is in the forefront trying to amend so that they put what they want the same way they do with all other acts of parliament, which are actually there to regulate the conduct of people. When we spoke about the amendment of the Securities Exchange Act, people thought we were politicking. What has happened to MAMCO, or is it Matson Financial Services?
Yeah.
What has happened to it? So you can't change the constitution. This is a very, very emotive issue and a very important issue. This is the cornerstone of democracy. This is a document for people. Go and obtain consensus from the people. Go and let the people allow you to change the constitution. After that, once you agree that there's need to amend the constitution, once you achieve that consensus that there is need to amend the constitution, the next thing is scope. You have to scope what is the extent of amendment. Is it the whole constitution? Is it just some articles and so on? Once you have agreed on the scope of amendment, then come back and say, this is a roadmap. This is the process that we're going to follow in the amendment of this constitution. This is how we're going to ensure broader stakeholder participation. This is how we will amend this constitution. And after you have agreed in terms of that, then you can begin the legislation process.
Now, Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya,
yes, sir.
Lunte Member of Parliament.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I feel strongly that we've been here before. We've been there before.
Yes, we have. Yes, we have.
And you describe the energy towards this alleged amendment.
Yes.
To say the energy is too much. It's coming from the head of state. It's coming from almost everybody.
Speakers.
Yes. And why am I saying I feel we've been here before is because now I'm meant to believe that this is the same script, different act.
No, sir.
How is this different from Bill 10? Let me get it. How is this different from Bill 10?
No, sir. Bill 10, the process was enacted. First of all, the process of coming up with the bill was enacted. It was enacted. Remember the NDF Act? The NDF Act came as a result of people demanding for enacting the process so that in case you don't trust the government, you have a law which is guiding how the constitution was going to be amended.
Yeah.
There were a lot of dialogue meetings in Siavonga political parties met. You remember that at one point there was a meeting even at the PF Secretariat to which President Lungu attended. Then the NDF Act was crafted. Then the bill was promulgated not by the Ministry of Justice, but by the NDF, which sat at Mulungushi International Conference Center. And the bill to collapse at enactment, courtesy of the UPND and nobody else. So the point is this. The president and others have spoken. There has been a lot of work done in the past. So we are looking at this work.
Yeah.
Now, if we go back, what is this work?
And this is material.
The president
this is material which is there.
The president is talking about the Chona Commission of 1972. That is the work that was done. to craft a one-party state constitution. The president is talking about the Mvunga Commission of 1991.
You can't say they are irrelevant. I think they are still useful.
Let me come there. The president is talking about the Mwanakato Commission of 1996. He is talking about the Mungomba Commission of 2003. Okay? I'll tell you in no uncertain terms, these are all irrelevant documents, totally irrelevant. The most recent commission is the Mungomba Commission, which happened in 2003. How many years is that? 22 years ago, my friend. 22 years ago. A few years earlier, in 2010, the population of this country stood at 13.1 million. Just years later, in 2022, this contested report is saying we are now at 19.7 million Zambians. What is our level of technology right now? What is our level of infrastructure development right now? What are our national values? Today, my friend, our national values are enshrined in the Constitution. How do you go back to 22 years ago? That's the earliest document we can talk about. This Mwanakato Commission was 29 years ago. The Mvunga Commission is 34 years ago, and the Chona Commission is 53 years ago. You can't talk about that. It would be totally irresponsible for anyone to even start saying we will change the law now based on work which was done 53 years ago. It's totally irresponsible. It is actually not well. I'll tell you, it's irresponsible. That is not forward-looking. That is not forward-looking. Dr. Mutotwe identified some risks when he presented these contested numbers in the National Assembly. He actually identified some risks that come with population explosion. One of the risks he talked about was about infrastructure development. The other risk he talked about was about service delivery. So how do you go to the requirements of service delivered of 53 years ago when people were less than 2 million? And marry this to today when you are 20 million. You keep quiet. Just tell the people what you want to do. Tell them the truth. Listen, if you tell people the truth.
Is that the draft that he is making reference to?
Well, I don't know. I am saying the reason he gave why there should be no consultations. Why there should be no consultation says work has been done in the past.
But the president haven't said there's a draft. And then the Minister of Justice says there isn't a draft at all.
That is not the only
where do you
But this is UPND. This is UPND. Let me tell you. It began with Cornelius telling us that government has no intentions of amending the Constitution. Government has no intentions of amending the Constitution. That is what the minister responsible for information delivery told the nation. After that, the president speaks to a draft. He was raising some papers when he spoke to the draft. The next time, the minister, his minister of justice, who should be responsible for actually drawing that draft. And this minister must be available all the way because she's there in the internal legislation, she's there in the cabinet legislative committee, she's there at cabinet, and she's the one who should present this in the National Assembly of Zambia. She says there is absolutely no draft at all. Who are we going to believe? Cornelius? Who said there's no intention? The president who said who lifted papers, some draft? Or Kasune who said that there is no draft? There is nothing to trust, absolutely nothing. The contradictory statements have not just started. And this tells you that there's no coherency in the manner and in the thoughts of that government process. They have not developed that coherency. It appears to me that what Cornelius thinks is completely different from what the president thinks, completely different from what the Minister of Justice thinks, and therefore we are only going to be pushed by the president because the president has said There's no need for this for this consultation, because a lot of work has been done. Elsewhere, he has said there is consensus. In the National Assembly of Zambia, he said there is consensus around delimitation and reverting members to the councils. And I have to tell you here now that there has been no consensus. In Kasama, he said, I take it. You have agreed, you have accepted, merely because he mentioned women and it was their event. He took it, they had accepted. What did he tell the youths? Don't go to protest, don't go to the streets to go and beat who? For him, protesting is about beating. No, sir. Protesting is not about beating. It's just about telling you, the government, that we don't want this or we want this. This is why a young man protested at the Freedom Statue there and he was arrested. Did that young man produce any violence? No, there was no violence. It was a lone protest. How do you arrest a person like that? The young boys who protested in Kasama, with a placard showing President Hakainde Hichilema and his former running mate GBM, requesting the president to pardon GBM, they were arrested. Did those people produce any violence? No, they did not produce any violence. They were just projecting a message to the president. So projecting a message to government is not violence, and it should not be taken for violence. It is just picketing. It is just protesting. It's just saying, no, sir or madam, we are unhappy with where you're taking us as a country. That's the point.
So that said, what would you want this government to do?
To tell the truth. To tell the truth and to abandon the constitutional amendment process, which is based on falsehood. There is no reason. There is no reason to delimit constituencies. There is no reason to revert members of parliament to councils when there is actually, we are having budget constraints. An example, when I commented on this issue in the assembly, okay, and deliberately I took Northern Province, where I am also a member of parliament, and I said, you imagine, my friend, imagine that a minister of state, I took an example of the minister of sport, who is elected in Kaputa, or Minister Elvis Nkandwe.
Yes.
He's a member of parliament in Kaputa.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if Minister Elvis Nkandwe was to, and together with me and everybody else were reverted to the council, do you know what it means? It means that every time there is a council meeting in Kaputa, Minister Elvis Nkandwe has to travel to Kaputa. But the question is, at whose cost? At the cost of the Zambian people. Now, what are some of the components of that cost? He will draw allowances. The driver will draw allowances. His protocol officer will draw allowances. Is that all? No. Government will have to pay for fuel. But look at Kaputa, where it is, and how bad the road is from Umporokos. If he chooses to use Kawambwa or he chooses to use Incheleng, look at how bad the road is from Mununga. So there will be issues of repairs and maintenance for that official vehicle. Who is paying? It's the Zambian people. So I am saying this is not the time, considering how much people are suffering. This is not the time to put more costs on the Zambian people, for God's sake. This is not time to add costs on the Zambian people. This is time to make savings. And those savings then should go towards helping people. Look, the United States of America has withdrawn a significant part of help that we are receiving from them. You should be thinking about generating more money so that nobody suffers as a result of the withdrawal of aid. The government wants to expand the cost of running government. That is what I'm calling irresponsible. So I think that if this government is well-meaning to for the plight of the Zambian people, by now it could have abandoned this. So because government does not appear to appreciate the fact that the Zambian people are suffering, they are going ahead with expanding the cost of running government. So I think it's not objective, it's not patriotic. This is a political maneuver. And from there, I draw I join those who have the suspicion that this is aimed at expanding political control in areas where UPND is strong. After all, that is what the contested census is telling us. The population explosion is in areas where UPND is strong.
So can you share with the listener out there, especially in layman's understanding, do you think that it is possible that the Constitution can be amended without the due process? As is now, can it get to become amended?
You see, the due process for amending the Constitution should be consensus based.
Let's imagine none of that is in place. Do you think that this government can succeed?
I will answer your question.
Right.
I will answer your question. The due process of amending the Constitution is consensus based, where you come to the table and agree. You agree for the need to amend the Constitution. You agree the scope of that amendment. You also agree in terms of the process. And then take the bill through the legislative process. What UPND wants to do is to just take the bill into the legislative process without the people's participation, without consensus, without views from stakeholders. This is what UPND wants to do. Now, it is possible for UPND to amend the Constitution through that short-circuited process. But that will have no legitimacy. The amendments will have no legitimacy because the Constitution is a document for people. You would have.
So how is that possible when at the end of it, or it will have to come to Parliament for amendment? That is
what I'm saying, because in Parliament we vote. We vote, and if the vote goes in favor of an illegal document or a document which is not patriotic,
is it by simple majority? It's not 2/3? And you think it's possible as things stand?
Listen, it is possible. That's what I'm telling you. It is possible because we all don't see things the same way. Remember, the opposition is at a difficult juncture right now. But where you have a problem is with the Zambian people, because they are the ones who are hungry. They are the ones who want their constitution to remain intact. Those MPs who think they can betray the Zambian people will get the wrath of the Zambian people. Those leaders who think that they can just bulldoze through the wheels of the Zambian people will get the response they are looking for. But for me, I lobby government, I lobby those proponents to consider the views of the people. 14 CSOs have told you we don't want to amend the Constitution. The Law Association of Zambia has told you the timing is terrible. Just stop it. The church has voiced its concerns about this process. So if you are a listening government, if you have any iota of listening, just stop the process, because people will respond. And when people respond to you, you may end up losing even the little that you have, even the little hope that you have of even retaining power in 2026. You see, this is a government which is sitting now. Its hope is to retain power in 2026.
And you think if without the amendment of the Constitution, they may not get it? Is that their fear?
You see, the Constitution or no constitution, the Zambian people will speak. Constitution or no constitution. And it's not in my place to begin to evaluate, for me, I'm concerned about the suffering of the Zambian people. This is why I think there is only one channel that is remaining for UPND to remain in power, and that is to manipulate the Constitution amendment process. So this is a selfish process. This process is not patriotic. It's not for people. This is a selfish process. For me, if I were UPND or anybody in UPND, I would be lobbying for the suffering majority Zambians. I would be lobbying government to direct resources towards removing Zambia from number 6 as the most impoverished country. Remove Zambia from, from being so poor that it would be number 6 among those countries that are impoverished. It's a shameful position we are in. Now, we are feeling the pain as a people, but now even the world is able to say they are feeling it. They are now at number 6. This is a position which must hate everybody.
But here is their argument for justification purposes. They're basically saying, look, delimitation is important because the distribution of resources at the current situation is not even, is not equal, because we have constituencies that are too huge that, it would get developed soon given the CDF allocation. So there's a huge understanding that once some constituencies are reduced, then the distribution of resources will be equated.
Why can't you?
Then development will be moving at a faster
for you,
and same pace.
For you as UPND, the only way you can improve service delivery is by improving the cost of doing that service. You have no other way of improving service delivery without improving the cost of doing it. Let me tell you, if you think CDF is a good thing, expand it and make it equitable.
Isn't it a good thing?
Expand the CDF. You can increase the CDF amount to even 100 billion per constituency. But make lean governance structure, small governance structures to manage your increased CDF. But I have to remind you, this CDF already has a lot of problems.
Which are?
Corruption. Some MPs, ministers giving themselves contracts. Now what the general report is there. It has serious problems. So you want to proliferate these problems. At a time when you are supposed to be resolving these problems, what are you saying? We need to expand the pockets of distribution. You need to expand the structures that are involved in these problems. You are irresponsible. What you need to do is, if you want to expand this, sort out the problems. After you have sorted out problems, you can increase the amounts and make them proportional. I know constituencies which have 4 wards. I also know constituencies which have 22 wards. 22 wards. I know. So you can't give the same amount of money in a constituency which has 4 wards and one which has 22 wards. You can't buy the same Land Cruiser for Lusaka Central constituencies as you buy for Mafinga constituency. For God's sake, the Land Cruiser may be required in Mafinga, but it's not needed in Munari constituency. We are dealing with a government which thinks equal is equity. No, it's not. The issue of inequality is a government creation. It's UPND government creation. The ones who decided equal amounts. UPND decided equal amounts. They did not consider the geography. They did not consider all of the features.
No government ever considered that.
That's what I'm telling you.
It was still the same. Even under the PF, it was still the same amount.
Even when you delimit today, you delimitate constituencies. Yeah. The equality cannot be achieved. So if you are thinking about improvement, look at other factors other than geographical divisions. And to make matters worse, even the reports upon which you want to delimit, first, they are outdated. We are talking about census of 10 years ago. Or in fact, not 10 years. Today, 2025, we're talking about the census. 2010 census is like 15 years ago. The other census, you have to add 10 years backwards. The commissions you are talking about here, the earliest is 22 years ago. The most, the Chona Commission was 53 years ago. So if this is your thinking, you can't make improvements to the country. It's impossible. You lack the capacity to think ahead. You lack the capacity to analyze things as sitting. Right now, we are sitting on contested data. clean up the data. Right now we are sitting on poverty, sort out the poverty. Right now we are sitting as number 6 poorest country in the world. Most impoverished country in the world, sort out the poverty. Right now, we are sitting at a place where minerals are being stolen. Bring confidence. Right now, we are now developing a country that lacks transparency, where even law enforcement agencies are being told now start working secretly. Stop talking. When you catch a thief, don't bring it to the public, because these acts are taking away investors. How can an investor run away from from a government that is acting properly? Because when we arrest you, Zach, for corruption, investors should be happy that in Zambia they don't tolerate corruption. Now we arrest you, we have to hide your identity, like those ministers whose identities have been hidden for years, and who have been demanding, show us which ministers are corrupt. The UPND government cannot show us. There was a different leadership at SEC. We appealed to the current leadership, show us those ministers who are corrupt. Government has hidden, SEC has hidden those names. Now, this is a country we are developing. It is a bad system of failure to account to the Zambian people that we are developing. But for this particular issue, I am lobbying government. I am appealing to government, be the ambassadors of peace. This country is the only country we have. So the government should not build a foundation for conflict between people and itself. Government must build a foundation for peace, and the foundation for peace requires for government to listen to how the people want them to govern. The CSOs have spoken, Laz has spoken, the church has spoken, individuals, eminent individuals like Musa Mwenya have spoken. Listen to people like Shaka Fuswa. They have spoken. They are telling you, abandon this process. You can't have the president be the lead lobbyist for a process. The president is supposed to be securing our interest, we, the Zambian people.
This is the Tuesday edition of The Burning Issue here on the Happy Word of 5 FM radio. We're also live on Radio Chengelo in Kitwe, Millennium Radio here in Lusaka, live also in Kabwe on Space FM, and we're live on Tuta FM in Mansa. Don't forget, we are live also on Platinum Radio in Indola and ZFM on 100.3 in Kapiri. And I'm your host, Zachariah Banda. And of course, our guest is Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya. He's a former cabinet minister, and he is member of parliament for Lunte constituency. We'll be taking your phone calls on 0955-221515, and your comments on Facebook are welcome. I see we have a number of them already, and we'll be restricting your calls to a minute. So be straight to your point. If you're asking a question, please get straight to the point. Once again, the number is 0955-221515. That's the number you're calling us on for your participation. We already have a caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Vana Kaonga. Mkwai Kukabwe. Please go ahead, Vana Kaonga.
Mkwai nabuka fino fine kuruselo wa mfumo. Babuka shani nabo. Yeah, Mkwai.
Tatero vale isa mkupoka chino vale ingia mchipani chako chino vale va driver isa uwa isa nomba te driver tata ni conductor poka kienda lama shabulo kukwela ape ata ni driver ni luba pachani abula nduwa kwewa kionze kisika mu UPND tabo mfwa vale lando kwewa chukare jiwe 22, 25 years ukubapera bala bantu indarama twaiko malire po tabare ufwa na lero bali bapera bali abantu kontra ya mukalapo kendara mo 22 years twairangire lero baita na constitution yabwe twalanda twati ilo lero muketeza mu 2026 aba pingambo kubombekezi bantu abali bonto bakufune mu constitution yabwe yo nomba tabale ufwa Pareti lero abuka tatalandesi mahupeti alandesi maiwalandesi yekuishwa tiudeko tata nabufirwa sote tuwana umaka tifweme na Zambia tuiluke pali ubuteko ila kutenza avuna kwa 2026 tukaya mumaro fia tuiluke
twatasha bana kaonga kashitaka kwana mkwai oko twachimipera mkwai mkwai natasha. There you have it, all the way from Kabwe. And thank you very much for that call. 0955-221515 is the number you're calling us on. Let's take this another one. Good morning. Tauka mauka banji.
Mwacha utas kama kwa mbili.
Wazulu wanu. Yes, pitizani Wazulu. Mulichabe na 1 minute ka? Msanga. Yeah.
Mutotwe Kafwaya alabeatia pilongamo. Mweo muli uko kustudio kamba chabiti lungamo. Muli mabanu yeka. Mukangi wakuti mwishije pino yongosoke. Wati motu yeka mungairi ime pino. Answer ni no. Anda kujotia ni munda mukangi wakuli makamunda katonto. Ini hakuna aiteko patule kwa kuna bangi kimenti chani. Lomba apari apa okangi wakuti bisoku zirongo soke bintu bino bwino. Onda akakunja nikukunja kwa kufuna kutakunja. Ofunika binangu bintu pochita tanjeni mwapocha wantu onkhala mutawetanu mungwe kapena maviews nao yali tyani ovomera olongokana Mutotwe Kafwaya bila bwino ngapo abantu wenje kapena ni chinji chuchitika kapena ni chinji chikuvavale macho ulo chikuvale mezo tulivalindi mulungu mwene wake iwatatisogole patika lele tifunika kuona leza apitila mu bantu ngachapukira ulele ndekileza yo nalamona ndoyo uli mupeti uli na ena lepo ekisingata ulepo ya maji paizo kubwa ukoza kuli nani nareka koko ziko mkwambili newa mdala na pita
Ziko Zulu. That's Mr. Zulu from Kabwe. We'll take another one quickly on 0955-221515 and let's see if we can pick this one. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Please share your name and where you're calling us from.
This is Francis calling you all the way from Uganda.
Francis from Undola. Thank you very much. Please go ahead, Francis.
Yes, you go. My brother Mutotwe Kafwaya can ikicyaro cy'abantu bose mama yarangiza bayashaka kandi koko akamucyaro so aba president bane reshaka n'abantu abantu ngavote cyangwa mu namachimo uko bati yala kibika kwa pasuma we are 2021 million somewhere. So your constitution please our economy is almost collapsed. The president so creating about there and that love you as you love yourself. The same come around in the content Ustanga Africa, Itafika, the bomba but leadership constitution, let it take a hold. Let us say next year.
Twatela Francis all the way from Undola. Let me pick this one. Good morning. Twashibuka mayo mwashibuka shani.
Mkwai tata wa Mutotwe Kafwaya mwashibuka shani.
Mkwai nabuka kuruserwa mfumo mwabuka shani na imwe.
Awe twabuka sebwino nine mumbitire no kuchongwe.
Mkwai
Tata wa Kafwaya very well spoken. No barekeni nyebeko ocho balekwayo kutasana sana baba UPND and they are selfish members of parliament. You know, Zaki,
Mm.
Baba member of parliament, like Jackie Muimbu, Gary Nkombo, Ababa Tete Bamuchima, Sylvia Masebo, Singombe, name them. Baba William Parliament over 30 years. Your delimitation, they are not delimitating concern development. Wuki. Like kuno kuchongwe, balepo abachite delimitate, ipate na bako imitanda bale wati, matido wati. Iya babupeti na kumunadi, baipange wati. So that kwise new MP, bamasebo batitirishe kulia kumwabo kumushi, because baleranda kiki bali mu power, ero bayamba one, na beka rishata bale fwaya, ukureka member of parliament, eyo delimitation mufunire. It's not for the interest of the people. Two, Mutotwe Kafwaya, you are a member of parliament. When you make submissions, nangu fielero, muenche, muimbe, munyamulanda, as you uwebe bakatune, as you look at the draft constitution, mubike pona limitation yama members of parliament, wala monanga wala kumamdiam parliament. If you're not under, Luwinda tried to do that. 2009, 2010, all of the sudden, he got sick, he nearly died. Go and ask him. That's what people are interested in. Abantu tell kuikala wakwate fumonga mwana 30 years ngani doctor nshadi kuishana medicine. If that's normal, we have all the people who have never been to parliament. You as a member of parliament in the fire, won't you suggest other members of parliament limit? Like what in our president, and you're not whoever one hour wala monanga ore kuma mjam parliament. That's the level of selfishness.
Thank you.
That violence fight corruption. Nari, you family that talked about Makoto. Who doesn't know? No one akashalanda no kulanda tibare mupera mamotoka. Livestock and fisheries. When Makoto was minister of livestock and fisheries, Bale ipera contract. Bale ichitama contract. Why is the president quiet? And yet Mataka GBM over Satabach Tirena clear when they say the abuse of office. What type of double standard is that?
Tasha Mai.
Raise that point to have limitation of their tenure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution, Madam Mombipiri. Now, let's have you react to that. Then I'll also give you a few comments on Facebook.
Zaki bamaiwa Mombipiri. Tabarefwaya mbwelele kunganda barefwaya njefuma nga balubinda the way balubinda left parliament. Well, the very important points that she raises, points which are touching on patriotism, points which are touching on aspects of good governance, and this is a conversation. Right now, Zaki, we have this issue of agrofuel. Do you know that most of us believe that part of the reason fuel is so expensive is because of the recklessness of the UPND government in the manner they were managing the pipeline? You recall that even IMF cancelled UPND on this matter. But UPND did not want to listen. Right now, UPND should be telling the nation how much have we lost in terms of this, pure deal that they entered into for all before they came to cancel it. Tell us how much money even in opportunity cost has the Zambian people lost. But UPND is now causing us to be discussing the constitutional amendments, needless constitution amendments. And obviously, Mumbipeli speaks about the desire by some selfish parliament in perpetuity. Listen, leadership is not for one person. Leadership is not just for one MP. There has to be transition. When I first entered parliament, I wasn't looking this old. I'm now an old man. You understand? I was young, just less than 10 years ago. But you see, my body has changed. The way I feel, everything about me has changed because of leadership. And when I've saved my time, there has to be an opportunity for those coming behind us to be able to save the nation. That is sustainability in leadership. But you can't just be, promulgating laws that are aimed at perpetuating your stay in power. There was a call from Mundola. What was the name of that gentleman from Mundola?
Francis.
Francis.
Yeah.
Francis says, listen to us. Things are bad. The economy has collapsed. And you see, Umuntu has the people have now gone to a level where they are begging government, listen. It's very unfortunate. I expected the UPND government to listen when they were told, don't export power amidst prospects of load shedding. They exported, they did not listen. When they were told, don't export maize, even when all indications were telling you you're going to have a drought. And UPND cannot tell us they never knew the drought was coming, because the meteorological department had recorded the clear La Nina. And when you record the La Nina on the Pacific Ocean, the next thing is a drought in the southern part of our country, or even the whole country. So we have this information. Don't export food because a La Nina has been recorded, and therefore what you are going to have is a drought. UPND went further and exported some of the maize for the people, which was given to some companies, and one company was even quoted in the Auditor General's report called Golden Manila. They did not even pay. They were given maize for free. They exported and ate the money without anybody talking about it. These are issues that government has ignored. But where are they now? They are on the constitution. A gentleman from Ndola has appealed to government. The same way Zulu one from Kabwe, that was from Kabwe, right?
Yes. Zulu was from Kabwe, yes.
The reason Zulu from Kabwe is saying mwakangi wa kupika mkampotoka ngono, it is because when you had the chance not to export power, you export it. Even when you were told not to, you were advised not to. When you were contracting the pipeline, you gave it a poor contract. People are making reference to the Lusaka Ndoa dual carriage, where 22 years you have given people to collect toll gate fees. 22 years. And these people have already started now. They are collecting toll gate fees. Now, when there is no road, even the part of the road which is there, it could be a very poorly constructed road because you began to construct it without a consultant. Nobody certified the materials which you used, the stone that you used, the cement that you used. Nobody certified the bitumen that you used, the mixtures. So the quantity, quality, and mix of all those products was not certified by anybody. But anyway, the contractor was paid, and you don't even know how you did all that. So some people know more than you. Don't think you know it all. Some people have been in these businesses which you have never conducted for a longer period of time. So they have material content from which you can tap and do a better governance service to the people. My Vanakaonga.
Yeah. Banakaonga from Kabwe as well.
Okay, yes, from Kabwe, and she says, well, namulondolola febwino Kafwaya. Okay, valelanda aleisa driver aleisa. According to Wanakaonga, what we have is a conductor, somebody just collecting. Okay, because a driver drives. In which direction is the economy getting right now? In which direction is governance getting? In which direction is national unity getting? In which direction is sustainability getting? Just go to Article 8 of the Constitution and read all the 6 pillars in our national values and principles. Each one of those pillars, what direction are they taking? Maybe it's a drive. Maybe it's a
let me give you a few comments from Facebook. This one is from GMGM. So GMGM says, Brother Kafwaya, tekanye nyama. There is nothing like rigging here. I want
rigging what?
Well, let me finish. I want constituencies like Solwezi Central, Solwezi West, Kasempa, Kapiri, and Mufue to be divided because they are too big for one member of parliament or the money as CDF. You are in Lunte because it went through the same process. You don't want the same to happen elsewhere. All right, that's GMGM. I think with him on the rigging part, he's speaking on your suspicions that it's probably for election purposes.
Thank you so much.
But let me give you a few more because we have a couple of them. So this one is from Given says, good morning, Honorable. What is your comment on today's headline where the Minister of Justice, Honorable Kasune, has confirmed that there is nothing like draft constitution anywhere, thereby contradicting State House, who said there is. I think you commented on that, but if you don't mind, you can. Samson Chitandula says, I agree with the opposition. Talking as a neutral, there is no demand from the population, and it is the politicians driving this agenda. They will do things that favor themselves. Secondly, the excuses of youth, women, and the delimitation are as ridiculous as it gets. To me, it doesn't make sense. We have an economy that has been in crisis, and this is definitely not the time to do constitutional changes. That's Samson. Quickly, let me give you another one, which says the amendment of that constitution, this is from Shaka, by the way, well, it says Shaka Zulu. The amendment to that constitution close to the general election is a wrong move for the government. It's like trying to repent after hearing that Jesus Christ is coming next week. If you know that you have failed, just face it. We'll come and revisit some more, but let me quickly give you one last comment on Facebook from Abe Okaira, who says, good morning, Honorable. Keep on talking for the poor, because the country is listening and that the ground is intact. Honorable, the president is visiting Kabwe tomorrow. Kindly tell the youths to say no for the constitution amendment. If the UPND government want to change the constitution, let them amend after 2026 elections. This is Abel from Kabwe. Would you like to react to any of that?
Yes,
before I take calls?
yes. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think all of these are very important views coming from our people. To begin with, if you look at the person who is talking about the fact that I'm in Lunte because there was delimitation.
That's GMGM.
Yeah. So I am not the first MP in Lunte. Felix was not the first MP. Msonda was not the first MP. Kapwepe was the first MP. So the delimitation we are talking about took place a long time ago when government had money to do so, when the people of Zambia were not suffering. So if you think that things should happen at any time without considering how people are suffering, then you are in big problems. Listen even to the constituencies he mentions: Kasempa, Solwezi, Mufumbwe. These are his examples. This is where there is a population explosion according to the contested census. So it is clear that such thinking would be supported. It's very, very clear. So I am sorry. you have gone to
Is
clean
this
up.
where you are justifying your suspicions that
No, he is the one.
that it's
He
stronghold
is the
based
one.
kind of delimitation that is being
is a
preached?
caller. Is somebody who has written on your
Yes.
Facebook. It's not me. It's not me.
I mean, does
did
that
not-
match
for
your
me,
suspicion?
It does match my suspicion. It does match my suspicion. Because remember, this census is saying in Luapula Muchinga Northern, there has been mild growth. And this is the first time, this is the first census ever, which is telling you that if you go to my own village where I come from, and you look at the number of children, what they are saying doesn't make sense. But even Lusaka is growing less than Northwestern Province. Northwestern Province has grown by 78%, my friend.
According to gathered data?
According to the contested data. And it should not surprise you when all these things are said. But the contradiction between the presence of the draft and the not having it is, I mentioned earlier that this is not the only contradiction, because the minister responsible for information told the nation in no uncertain terms government has no intention of amending the constitution. Then the president comes with this intention to the floor of the House. He went with it to Kasama, went with it to Mongu, and went with it to the National Indaba. But before that, it came from Tenguleni in Chpata. The intention was there. Cornelius was misleading us. And then the same president who declared this intention told us, you don't even know what is in this draft. You don't even know. So we know the draft is there. Then the minister goes and says there's no draft. These contradictions are a UPND feature. And I think it is punishing me to even asking for my comment. It's punishing me because we are dealing with UPND. For once, this colleague of ours agrees with the opposition. It is good to agree with the opposition, but even where the opposition is saying things which are not serving your interest, you are not obliged to agree with them. But here, we are being as patriotic as we can. And he says the excuse of the youths, the women, and elsewhere, there are even issues of proportional representation. He said these are ridiculous excuses. And I agree with him, these are ridiculous excuses, because there is no political party in Zambia which is inhibited from adopting women. No political party in Zambia which is inhibited by law, by the constitution, to adopt the youths. Just adopt them. In fact, for those who have capacity to appoint people like the president, Article 59 even guides you in terms of how you can exploit your appointing opportunities to include all these people. How many women have been nominated by this president in the National Assembly of Zambia? Mrs. Mtintamazok. That's all. Which other woman? Show me. Out of 8 possible nominees, there's only one. How many women are in his cabinet? You have to count. Who stopped the president from making 50% women in his cabinet? Who stopped him from appointing youths in his cabinet? There isn't a single youth in that cabinet, not even one. Who stopped the president from appointing youths? The DCs. Who are there? How many women are there? 156 or 116 districts. Those are opportunities to put DCs. What about permanent secretaries? How many youthful, or not even youthful, but youths has he appointed? So you have serious problems. Has Dr. Nevas Mumba commented about the need to amend the constitution? Dr. Nevas Mumba was appealing to church just the other day that the insults which we are seeing on social media, church must come in. I don't know if he forgot that he's a church person himself. Okay. So you don't just speak about things because you are politically aligned. You don't. You have to be patriotic, because before there was PF, now you have UPND. Tomorrow there will be another party. You should be able to go back to your views and say, when I stood up and spoke, I was being patriotic. I was looking at the country. And when people project your views back into your face, don't say we are going to ban social media. It's unpatriotism which causes that. You deploy social media to say and do the things you are doing. When they are shown to you just 4 years later, you want to ban social media? It's unpatriotic. It is totally unpatriotic. This man from Ndola is telling you the economy has been in a crisis. And another one comments, amending the constitutions before elections is just not on. This is what everybody's saying. What's the rush? Why are you having issues with the same constitution that brought you where you are? Listen, obey what the people are telling you. And this is not personal. Don't take it personal. Tapabo muntu obapata bantu swazonda muntu aliyense bazonda kachitidwe. The things that people do, instead of acting in favor of people, you can't continuously act against the people.
All right, so let me take some more calls on 0955 221515. We have about 12 minutes or so before we go, but we can squeeze in a couple of calls on 0955 221515. Good morning and welcome to the Burning Issue. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Come again?
Dr. Proud.
Yes, Dr. Proud. Please go ahead.
Na ukachabwino badok ilibwelila yeah zikom
what I can only appreciate you Mutotwe Kafwaya Jackie. That person is a person who is working to present what I can because in his record there is no question on him. So you are more like a Islam Mutotwe Kafwaya. Most of the people who are in the PF don't on you because they say no, there's the victimization. Mutotwe Kafwaya was a minister. His MOP today is not being arrested because they tell the man. So continue saying it, example, no matter we are talking in the radio, that is a democracy result when we bring Article 4. So President Yaka in the, he could know you feeling about you. But we can only urge you, sir, you concentrate more to people in the economy. When you go to the way Osaka is rooted, you have to give the people bread. Like I think there was a minister of water right now, the people that don't have water. There was a minister of justice, he said to bring opposition right now, a council include the name of the candidate in the council. That's why we see council are moving forward to cut the grass in the opposition, including in the Chimere. So when the MP can sit in the chambers of councils, I was in the station with Chamumtunda, I found the same. Where they even failed to build that road. So, the challenge is now struggling to mend the way appears left. For me, I can salute you because you are a great man. When you are talking about President is working.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Proud for that. Let me quickly take another. Good morning. Hello, good morning. I'm fine. Thank you. Welcome. Your name and where are you calling us from? Mishek from Mushiri Council, to be specific, in Ndola. Thank you. Please go ahead, sir.
wino mkwaina totera sana ngai mwe mlishani o ningu fati mlife wino
wankuleta aflatoxin milimio mwaisula poison kupera vena zanga takuwa bobuteko ubufise emiti one containers abena zambia bari kwa moma itobarira takuri imiti antimalipita ba Mutotwe Kafwaya so leso turera ndachakwa bati nikutwapuli ikatane ne constitution bari for kuchinja taiti itinjiko bana zambia na tukana and ngeso bari tingacho before 2026 bakachinja babe party obu ikifwa ikwa chakutira batiba ngabere for kutamendi batamendi nani cost of living batamendi fiwo ile batamendi nani dollar not if barera ndati oro in conclusion the president is going to be more position but the current constitution is 100% correct. If there is a good constitution for what a professed in Zambia, we need to correct it. In the government, not a changing the shan. However, never position a building. But when on Jameson, a Christian Jameson in Gero at Tampo Bomba, Bako Wanomba, all over there, Tanakavidi, it's in fish question of Venezuela. So I can, and no matter what, they are captive. To fight for it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mishek from Ndola. Let me take another one on 0955221515. That's the number you're calling us on. Good morning. Naukaba Oswald Mwakabwina.
Nauka zikoma kwambiri.
There you have it. Thank you very much for coming. I have a quick message I need to share with you, but let me take one last call. And then, we start winding up. Thank you very much for calling. Your name and where you're calling us from? Hello, good morning. Please share with us your name and where you're calling us from. Oh, your line is so bad. Can you hear us? Hello, can you hear me? Oh, no, that line is terrible. Please try to call us back. Let me take another one, maybe. Good morning. Hello, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you. Your name and where are you calling us from?
Mr. Teska calling from Matera.
Mr. who?
Mr. Teska calling from Matera.
Teska, all right, from Matelo. Please go ahead.
Yes, how are you, Honorable?
So I'm okay, thank you so much.
I'm fine. Okay, I want to talk about the issue of constitutional amendment, this move by UPND. The only thing the government, the good government should do is to create jobs through creation of more industries, nationalize our mines, being our best source of our income as a country, so that at least we, the youth, at least we should find something to do in our society. So that even women and the youth have full capacity to have opportunities, to have something to do, so that they are able to do it, have resources to enable them to do it, to compete with these our elderly politicians. When we talk about the issue of delimitation must take place not more than 10 years, as you have said, that have said about it, and in fact, even in our constitution is there. Like what CF did in 2011, the delimitation was the of the government. Same applies 2019, 2020, they had proposed to do delimitation through amendments, in fact through Bill 10, of which the same thing they did what they refused. And now, why UPND wants to do delimitation within the period of 15 years, also the Constitution says the delimitation can be done within the period of 10 years and not more than that. So what are they telling us now? As a youth, me being a youth, but UPND should just leave our constitution the way it is. because already they have failed to do it immediately when they formed the government according to their promises through their manifesto. Already our constitution in Article 259, 259 1A, B, and C, including 2, it is very clear to say that any person who is empowered to do what nominate or appoint any person who is capable to do the work, there must be a 50% equal equal appointments. But one thing that I can say right now, Mr. President is not straightforward, because among 8 nominees that he did, that is empowered to nominate, there is not even a single youth on that list. Just it's not one, then 2 women who were appointed among 8 nominees. And then what exactly is Mr. President telling us, the youth, to say, okay, youth, you have done better. So right now we are planning, at least in our constitution, to have a program whereby we will be engaging new youth and women because of my appointment, which that I did, so that at least you will be participating. No one is rejecting, no one is hindering the president to do so. The president has authorities empowered to do so. But at the moment, not even a single youth was appointed. Bunch Kaunda was sent to Malawi. These are the issues that we are crying at.
Thank you.
So
Thank you. Yeah.
In conclusion, this UPNB government is not trusted to tamper with our constitution at the moment. Let them wait until 2020 general election. That's when now we can look on that issue.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, your minute is up. I appreciate that you called Tusker. Thank you very much. We have to leave it there. And you are our last caller, by the way. But let me quickly give you a text that is coming from Chilufia, all the way from Leicester in the UK. Says, Zach, I couldn't agree more with my honorable young brother. We don't need delimitation. The UPND is failed attempts at legislating for it is based on size of constituencies is annoying. You know, there are constituencies which are big, yes, but most of them are underpopulated. Create districts, build hospitals, schools and roads. The PF government started this. Make those areas accessible. I thought these guys bragged that they were actually learned. Do they know that that we can drive to Belgium from Manchester and back in a day, factoring in ferry? Why is it possible for that to happen? It's because the roads were made and they are good. I don't even agree with CDF. It's a vanity. Give power to councils. What country goes to buy ambulances for the whole country? Is it possible to amend the constitution where we have the powers to recall MPs like the British do? This will stop those MPs, the MP sellouts, I think that you meant to say. If you are elected on a party ticket and you start supporting another party blindly, we should be able to call you back. And can the president stop thinking that we are down? You know, this is Chilufia from Leicester. So what we will then do now is quickly ask you to make comments on what we've so far given you, and then we conclude.
Okay, so thank you so much. Let's build a democracy. I want to conclude this way. When Bowman Lusambo and Malanji's seats were taken away, some of the Zambian people thought it would affect them. Didn't care. What followed, the Democratic Party was taken away from Honorable Hari Karava, and that didn't matter to many because they don't like Karava or things of that nature. The NDC suffered the same fate. After NDC had been taken away, what followed is the Patriotic Front party. Now, NDC and the Democratic Party appeared as small parties, therefore people didn't pay attention. But the fate of NDC today is the same fate of the Patriotic Front party, which is a big political party. But it didn't end there. what followed is the ability of President Edgar Lungu from contesting future elections. He was barred by non-democratic tendencies. Now, you dealt with the opposition. You are finished. You have now come to deal with the whole population. All the Zambian people now are being swallowed by amendments of the constitution which are completely unwanted. That is why we should have stopped the government from treating Bowman in the manner they did. We should have stopped from treating Malanji in the manner they did. We should have stopped them from treating DP, NDC in the manner they did. What we ignored ended up swallowing, has ended up now coming to haunt the entire nation. But listen to the people. They are saying they have kept voters' cards. These are not good views for the sitting government. Listen to what people are saying. The delimitation you are talking about is a bad is a bad topic because of timing and because of what the constitution is sitting with. Even my brother from Leicester says, listen to me, they are able to drive from the island to mainland Europe and be able to come back because visionaries built roads, they built infrastructure which should be able to help people to manage this. So go home, go and build hospitals, go and build clinics, build roads, build the things that are important for people to continue conducting their business and to continue their social lives. Stop thinking about things that are only aimed at perpetuating your stay in office. Those rebel MPs, they 10 or 12, whatever. I have no interest in anybody who betrays the trust of the people. I can't even be here counting them. What I am saying is that everybody has a chance to represent their people in a more decent and more acceptable way. So I think that, like Teska is saying, let UPND create jobs. And Teska makes an example, nationalize the mines so that the youths can have opportunities, which opportunities will make them compete with elderly MPs like the one talking on radio right now. So if you create opportunities for them, they will get jobs, small businesses, nationalization of mines. These are the examples he gives. And let me tell you, PF nationalized some mines. What has happened? Those mines have been given away for nothing. Up to today, if you go to Chingola, they were talking about 3,000 people who have been employed. You don't even know where those people are. You don't even know where they are working from. They are talking about KCM beginning operations and expanding. If you go to Chingola and Mufulira now, you'll be shocked what is happening on the ground. So stop all these statements of misleading people. Go and create jobs. Go and put money in people's pockets, ensure that you create opportunities. So clearly, I want to also thank Dr. Proud, who specifically admires my record in government. He thinks that my record was a good record, and he encourages me to keep talking. Listen, I'm talking for my children. I'm talking for my friends' children, because for some of us, we've seen a bit. Even you, Uncle Zaki, you've seen a bit, but think about your children. Those monies that government is losing by way of giving away targets for 22 years will affect your children, because government now is incapable of building infrastructure. They are totally incapable, because they can't build infrastructure. And there's a contested explosion of population. You have a situation where this government or governments to come will completely fail to offer services to the people. That's why they are insisting. Those who are patriotic are insisting, make proper commitments that are sustainable, and sustainability begins with you yourself. You must be able to think and say, from this, I must just sustain my life. After here, I must sustain my friends. After sustaining my friends, I should sustain the community. After the community, we go to the entire country. we shouldn't look at the country just in the specs of now. We must look at the country in the specs also of many years to come. That is what developmental sustainability is about. Stop being selfish.
Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya, Member of Parliament for Lunte constituency, thank you very much for coming, and we appreciate that you came. And of course, we know that you have a busy schedule ahead of you, but we still are grateful that you made time.
Most grateful. Thank you that we could have a conversation.
Great. And to you, our listeners, we're grateful that you followed our conversation, and especially those that participated. Thank you very much. And let me more importantly say gratitude to partner radio stations that carried this program live. Tuta FM in Mansa, Platinum Radio in Indola, ZFM in Kapiri, Spice FM in Kabwe, Millennium Radio here in Lusaka, and Radio Ichengelo in Kitwe. We will definitely be back again this Thursday with the Thursday edition of The Burning Issue, God willing. And remember to take care of yourselves and more so of each other. I'm Zach, and it's goodbye for now.
Tune in next week for another edition of The Burning Issue, and thank you